Welcome to Meldon Law and Friends. We have another great show for you today. Summer is here, and it's fairly hot out there, so protect yourself, have a good time. And we at Meldon Law are here to serve the community whenever you have a need. So we've been in business since 1971, serving North Central Florida and all of Florida. We're actually moving to expand into the South Florida area where my daughter Jessica, who's been an attorney for 15 years, has decided to join up with Meldon Law. So that's part of our news. We're very excited about it, and you'll be hearing more about it as the show goes on into the summer and the fall. Meldon Law is a boutique law firm that specializes in handling injury cases, primarily motor vehicle accidents, motorcycles, pedestrians, bikes, all those kinds of things. Sometimes premises liability where people are injured on businesses or other people's property. So give us a call if you ever have a need, or a friend does, 352-373-8000. And on our show, Meldon Law and Friends, we like to highlight what's going on in the community and members of our community that are doing some pretty great things. So we're going to hear from our good friend Parker later on. But right now, I just want to give you a few tidbits about what's going on in the community. So there's berry picking at the Deep Spring Farm in Alachua throughout June. So for those of you that have never done it, it's really fun going out and picking berries. And they have some of the best berries, blueberries, and you can pick them underneath live oaks, so you get a little bit of shade. And the admission is $10, which includes a bucket of berries, which will keep you going for a long time. So you want to look up Deep Spring Farm in Alachua, Florida, if you want to go berry picking. I did that with the kids years ago, and they had a blast. It's a really fun family activity, and for the young kids, they kind of see where the blueberries come from and how they're grown and what they look like on the vine. So check it out. Next, we have the Ocala Summer Series at the World Equestrian Center. We're big fans of WEC. We love it. It's I call it the Disney World for horse people. It's amazing, and it's right here in North Central Florida in Ocala. So check it out. So June 4th through August 10th, they have what they call their summer series. Experience elite hunter-jumper equestrian competitors at the World Equestrian Center, and they've got indoor arenas, dining options, and shopping. So I guess because it's so friggin' hot out, they decided to do it at the indoor arena. So go there. You will have climate-controlled, meaning air-conditioned indoor arenas, which is pretty cool. So all summer long, you can go out to WEC and check it out. Chiefland, June 7th, is having the Watermelon Festival, and it's the annual celebration, and it features a parade, watermelon-themed contests, local vendors. It's been a tradition since 1954. Wow, over 70 years in Chiefland. So the way it works is that watermelons start all the way down in Homestead, south of Miami, during what we call our winter, and they're making watermelons. And then as you move north, as the seasons get warmer, so does the prime watermelons that are being grown in Florida and Georgia. So the third week in June for North Central Florida is usually when the watermelons reach their peak. So that's why we've got the Watermelon Festival June 7th in Chiefland. Also on June 14th, we have the Williston Watermelon Festival at Heritage Park. So they're a week apart, June 7th and June 14th. And it's an opportunity to go out, have a great time, and they have over 100 vendors coming to the Williston Heritage Park Festival, food trucks, live music, and free watermelon. So that's pretty cool, because watermelon is what we grow around here at this time of year. And just put it in the fridge or a bucket of ice or something, get it a little bit cold, and you will have a blast. So anyhow, I just wanted to mention one other thing, because they've tinkered with Florida laws that affect you as a driver and as a citizen and consumer, and your rights have been narrowed in many ways by the legislature, which means that you really need to know what to do in the event of a serious accident. And I wrote this book called 7 Mistakes That Can Wreck Your Florida Accident. And the purpose of the book is, number one, for you to educate yourself to see whether or not you even need a lawyer. You can call us, and we'll be glad to go over your case with you at 352-373-8000. However, this book is free. It's available on our website, meldonlaw.com, and it's an easy read. The way I wrote it was I summarized the whole book in a couple pages right up front, and then if you want to dig deeper, you can go to the chapter that correlates with the 7 mistakes that can wreck your Florida accident case, and figure out what they are, how they affect you, and what action you need to take next. So please check us out. Again, that's 7 mistakes that can wreck your Florida accident case. It's free. You can go to meldonlaw.com and download a PDF version right away, or you can call the office and we'll send you the hard copy of our consumer guide. Just call 352-373-8000. Send it to you. It's free. There's no obligation. And check out Meldon Law's Facebook page if you want tickets. We have a lot of things going on coming up in the fall. Gator football is going to be huge this year, and we're going to be giving away tickets to every home game, and we're going to be doing fan fests and having a blast. It looks like Gator football is on the upswing, so let's support the Gators and have a good time doing it. We're going to take a quick break here on Meldon Law and Friends, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
I was going down a one-way street and a girl that was driving her car T-boned me on my scooter. I ended up going for an MRI and discovering that I had 2 herniated discs. Coming to Cary allowed me to not have to worry about what doctor I was going to see or what physical therapist I had to go to. They say, these are the people we trust. You're going to have a great experience there, and I honestly did each time.
Call Meldon Law. Your consultation is absolutely free.
And I was in an accident. Someone ran a red light and hit me, and I was hurt. You don't know where to turn. Luckily, I called Jeffrey. These big insurance companies, they don't want you to win. They truly don't. But Jeffrey and his firm and the people that work here, they just really fight for you. You call the law offices of Jeffrey Meldon, because you're going to need help, and they will help you.
Call Meldon Law right now.
Hey, Sammy, look who's there. Say hi.
Meldon Law, Jeffrey speaking.
Somebody else hit us here.
Here we go again. Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I have my distinguished guest, Jonathan Parker, with me from Truly Nolen Pest Control. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm great. And we're going to call you Parker because that's what your friends call you, right?
Yes, sir.
Or JP or...
Yeah, just don't call me late for dinner, man.
Okay.
But
Well,
Parker's fine.
Parker is fine. So Parker, I understand that prior to buying the Truly Nolen Pest Control franchise from Marion County, you were involved in a lot of other things. Let's start back to, earlier in your life. What kind of things have you been doing?
Let's see here. When I came out of high school, I had this thought process that I wanted to be a big-time New York, work on Broad Street. Mm-hmm. And I really just wanted to work in investing, and I wanted to be that guy working on Wall Street. And so I got my Series 6 when I was 19.
What's that, a license so you can help trade in stocks and bonds?
So the Series 7 is the one that allows you to actually work with stocks. Mm-hmm. But the Series 6 will allow you to work with some of the other investments.
Okay.
And so I entered that world from around 19 years old, stayed in there till about 21, 22. And then I had a friend of mine, or actually my late uncle, he calls me, he says, well, Parker, I want you to get in the car business. I said, are you nuts? Nobody likes car salesmen. Why would I do that? I don't want to be in the car business. So I just happened to meet a gentleman who became my mentor after that for the next 20 plus years. And at 23 years old, got into the automotive industry and stayed in it for 23 years and did everything from finances to sales to running sales departments, things of that nature. And, it was just time to move on with life.
Now, were you in both the new and used car industries?
I did. Yeah. So, yeah, the new and the used car world is very different, but also very much the same. I mean, they all work together. So, yeah, we did it all.
Yeah, well, I love cars, so I'm always looking for the newest toy on the floor,
Yeah. The toys, getting into the car business, I wasn't like a big car guy, mm-hmm. right? But once you're in it for a while, you really, and the more you learn about it, it's almost like pests. The more you learn about it, the more of a nut you kind of become. And yeah, I can talk cars all day, all day.
Well, listen, let's switch now to your current life, okay? How did you make the shift from being in the automotive industry to the pest control industry?
So my mentor taught me a lot about diversifying, right? So he spoke to me about, Parker, you just don't want to be a car guy. You want to know planes, you want to know this. Find something else that you can stick your foot in and really start to learn it like the pros. And I have a family member who is the owner of Truly Nolen of Daytona. And he had been talking to me about, Parker, what about the bug business? What about the bug business? And I'm thinking, I don't know. Just like cars, I don't know if I really want to play around with bugs all day. But the more you start to learn about it, the more you start to respect it. And you're like, okay, well, this is interesting. This is actually an industry that is more important than the automotive world, and in a lot more places, because your pest control professional is the guy that's behind the scenes. You don't see him, And so it really started to intrigue me, and so I started studying about it. Then I spent some time with him. And then once I spent a little bit of time with him, I said, okay, well, maybe I could do this. I went and talked to the wife. She says, hey, it's time for you to get out of the car business. I say, I think you might be right. So that's kind of how that worked itself out. And then I met up with Truly Nolen North America, flew out to Arizona, and had a chance to sit down with the executive team there. And the rest is history.
Well, that's awesome. So What was it like just starting up? Did they help you as far as finding a location, help you with marketing? What are some of the things that you've been learning? How long has it been now?
So I've been in pest control for a little bit less than a year now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're just getting started. I know you had your ribbon cutting March 6th.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd been in it for 9 months or so prior to that, getting
Around the
things
August
going.
time frame, yes, sir.
So, what are some of the key elements to success in the pest industry?
What I have found as key elements of success in the business is, honestly, it's the customer service and wanting to go a little bit further. I speak to people all the time that say, wow, my pest guy didn't do that. I said, well, they didn't take care of the ants? No. They didn't get into your attic and make sure. That's a good harborage place, right? And so we really we go a step further, and even little things like, I was at a young lady's house some time ago, and she needed her garbage pulled in. And that's not my job, but she needed to do it. The husband was away. I pulled the garbage in, made sure she had a new bag in there, and it's just a little bit of extra. I have a franchise owner in Gainesville. He always talks about it. He says it's just the 2 extra seconds it takes to be great.
That's awesome. So you've been building your team out?
Yes. So right now it's a small team. It's myself and my 2 sons.
Okay.
And they help me anywhere I need them. Right now they're out doing marketing and sales and stuff like that. But yeah, sometimes I'll have them in the field doing tech work, actually spraying, doing what they need to do. So yeah.
So, we live in Florida, so it's one of the largest states in the country, and it's probably the hottest state, either Florida or Texas, right?
That's true.
So you would think that, pest control is like a really booming industry in the state of Florida, particularly in Ocala and Marion County because of all the growth that goes on there.
That's correct.
Now, I've talked with pest control people that say when you're building a new house, there's certain important things you can do to protect the house even right from the beginning.
Absolutely.
What are some of those things?
So when you're going to build a home or any structure, Florida code says that you have to protect it from subterraneans, right? So
Subterranean sounds like termites and stuff.
yes, sir.
Okay.
So you have to protect it from the subterranean termites. So typically they'll have you go through either a process or you'll do bait stations or one of 2 or 3 different things to protect the home. Something else that's also very important that I always tell people is sanitation is key, right? Be careful leaving the garbage cans in the garage, right? Unfortunately, that draws the ants, right? And if you have pools of water, make sure they stay clean. That draws the mosquitoes, and what draws the mosquitoes draws the spiders. And so it's just the little things to make sure of. If you see gnats in the house, first thing I want you to think is check your drains, because maybe your drains are getting dirty.
Okay.
And with dirty drains, starts bringing flying things, So it's little things like that is what a homeowner can do to protect themselves.
Yeah, people that haven't lived in Florida for a long time, they get kind of freaked out. They see their first little lizard and they think that the world's falling apart. Have you ever seen someone jump when they see?
Oh, I saw it yesterday. Unfortunately, this little beetle had started to creep towards this young lady's shoe, and I said, "You might want to watch that beetle." And she jumped like Michael Jordan.
Well, so the reality is everybody listening to this for the most part is from Florida, and we are much different. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, right? And there's bugs up there, and but it's nothing like in Florida.
Right.
Here, no matter whether it's air conditioned or non-air conditioned or whatever the circumstance is, you are going to have insects and bugs that invade your space.
Absolutely.
And that you really need to be aware of. Like I said, there's some things you can do early on to help protect yourself. And then the maintenance is just always got to be there, because if you stop for 3 or 4 months, then you're going to be invaded again, right?
Oh, it's very true. I tell people all the time, it's anytime I'm speaking to people, I tell them it's pest prevention. It's not just pest control. You know, we are capable of going out and exterminating an issue that you have. Mm-hmm. But the best thing to do is to have pest prevention in place, right? And it's lesser expensive, right? So I have seen places that are spotless and a roach still catches its way in, right? Ants still find themselves
They can get roaches and ants and rats and mice can get in anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you need like about a quarter of an inch.
That's it. If the rat can fit its head through, the rest of the body goes through.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So we're in Florida. So let's start with, okay, you bought a home that's previously owned, right? So it's a used home, right? And they call you up and they Parker, we got ourselves a new home. We want to have you, come out here. What are the assessments tools, and what are some of the things you do to give them a plan of action?
That's an excellent question, right? So, customer calls me and says, Parker, I've got bugs, right? Is that what we're saying? Mm-hmm. And so, I've got bugs. I want to get rid of them. One of the first things I tell them to do is take pictures of it so I know what I'm looking at, because you have to inspect it first. You treat an American roach different than you treat a German versus an Australian, right? Mm-hmm. It's quite a little bit different. And the ants, the same thing. So first thing I need to know is what I'm dealing with, or I set up an appointment to go out and speak with them. Some of the things that we look at are cracks in the foundation. That's huge, especially on the new homes. Not the cracks as much, but I'll notice under like the gravel in the driveway. I did one the other day where the gravel in the driveway, there was about a 2-foot dip between that and the sidewalk. Mm-hmm. And that's where all your ants were. I mean, it was a little pile right on top, and that's where all the ants were, and they were getting right inside the room. And I said, okay, well, so now we have to go and attack that part of it. And the biggest thing that the folks that I have learned from have taught me is treat the source before you try to treat the pest.
Okay, right. In other words, if you just spray in a certain spot inside the home,
right,
and you don't deal with what the source is, they're going to come back over and over and over again. And
absolutely,
all the spray's going to do is keep them down a little bit for a little while.
That's it. And unfortunately, a lot of times these pests can grow an immunity to certain things. So if you just keep spraying Raid or something like that, some store-bought product, you're spot treating it, but they will start to grow, they'll start to get used to it, and it won't work on them anymore.
Okay, so let me ask you what the newest techniques are. I know some people are concerned about, the side effects for humans with, spray and poisons and things like that. Mm-hmm. What's the state of the art now for dealing with all of that?
So the first thing I would tell you is if you have, let's put it this way, try not to have people spraying inside the home. Not unless you have a specific issue that they need to address, right? There are certain products that can be sprayed or utilized inside the home that are organic and will do the trick versus having to come in and put pesticides in your home, especially if you have pets or children.
Right, because the kids and the pets will get everywhere.
Absolutely.
And you don't want them around poison.
That's exactly right. So a pest control professional should be able to spray on the outside and create the layers on the outside to limit them being able to get into the home. Usually for us, we come into the home once a year, just mostly to make sure what we're doing on the outside is doing what it's supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Every once in a while, I'll get the customer say, well, I'm still seeing this. I say, okay, well, let's come back, and there's something we can do a little bit step up before we have to use the hard stuff,
Yeah, well, that's great because people are aware of that now.
Right.
And number one, you want long-term solutions, not short-term solutions.
That's true.
I know we live in the downtown part of Gainesville in the historic district.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, there, for whatever reason, the sewers are older there, and you know, my wife and I, you know, it's a constant battle,
Right.
To make sure that the pests and we have a. You know, it's a built-up home, so there's crawl space underneath the
yes.
home. So
Those are
that's
fun.
unusual for Florida, but that's how they used to build homes,
Right. Oh, yes.
And it's great if you want to fix the plumbing or the electric or any of that, because
Yeah.
you want to put a gas line into the kitchen, no problem. We got, you know,
Oh, yeah.
crawl
Just
space.
get under there.
But meanwhile, that's where the buggies love to hang out.
That's
right?
exactly right. They're in your attic. They're already there.
Yeah, that's another thing. We when we moved into the house, we had rodents that were getting into the garage and from the garage into the attic, and then you know, we had to call the Ghostbusters out and zap them, and we still to this day have rodent traps around our home.
Oh, yes.
And they come out every month. They check the bait. They check the, you know,
That's smart.
And that's
Yeah.
So what you're talking about is there's you treat the perimeter of the home. Most homes you deal with are on slab, right?
Right.
So if
Well,
you're
we do both. But
Oh,
yes, you're right. Most of them are slab. Yes, sir.
So with a slab home, what you're trying to do is create a seal around the outside perimeter of the home, because that's how insects invade the home.
Yes, sir.
Now, when insects come in contact with the bug spray, how long does it take before they die?
Well, a lot of the bug sprays that you get they're like a kill option. It's what we call a knockdown option. So if you just do bug spray on them, as long as you hit the bug, it'll kill them.
No, I'm talking about when you're spraying.
Oh, when I do it.
Yeah,
Oh,
when
yeah,
you
yeah,
do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
So when we come out and do it, in Florida conditions, it's about 3-4 months
Before what?
before the chemicals start to break down. And it's because of the Florida heat, and it's because of the rain that we get.
Right.
So when it starts to rain, it starts to wash it away, but that usually doesn't get it. But that Florida heat over the course of a few months will start to disintegrate it.
Now, if you spray the house, right, and bugs are still trying to get in, they come in contact with the spray. Does it take like 5 minutes or 5 hours before they're dead?
I get what you're saying. Okay, so depends on the spray and depends on the solution, right? So some of the sprays that we put down are what we call IGRs, insect growth regulators. Those can take several days for you to start to see it. Some of the things that we put down are basically bait that will allow them to take it and take it back to the colony. We use that a lot for roaches and ants.
And why is that better?
Well, because a lot of times you can't find where they're coming from, right? Not unless I'm going to tear open your walls, right? But it's like I know I see them coming in and out of the electrical outlet. So it's like, okay, so since I can't go on the walls, let's do this. And I'll take the first I'll put a little bit of ant or rat or excuse me, roach.
The roach.
Or
The
roach gel on there, and I'll say, okay, well, I'm going to come back in 20 minutes and we'll see what happens. And so you'll start to see them after a few minutes. They'll start to come and they'll hover around it. They'll take it back. And then once you see the line of where they're going, now I know where to attack. And so if it's behind an electrical outlet, I'll take the electrical outlet off and I'll start to treat behind it.
So the bait attracts them, and then they take it back to the nest. And does the what they take back then help kill other bugs in the nest?
Absolutely. There's one that I have fallen in love with that is used industry-wide called Nibor-D, right? It's a boric acid. Basically what it does is they can't sense it. And so as they walk through it, it gets on them. They take it back to the nest, And once it gets digested, it starts to break down from the inside, and it starts to kill them from the inside. And so that type of stuff I really like, because if something happens with the kid and they touch it, it won't hurt them.
Right.
If the pet gets it, it won't kill them, but it'll take care of the roaches and the ants.
This stuff is so important to live comfortably in Florida.
It is.
And I was on a trip about 5 years ago.
Okay.
And I met this guy. By that time, he was in his mid-80s, probably. A fascinating guy. And he told me that he made his fortune down in Ecuador. And I said, well, how did you do that? He said, well, the people that were making beer had all these grains and hops and these things, and the rats were tearing them apart. I said, so how did you do it? He said, I was working with Monsanto, and they had and another pharmaceutical company as well. And he tried different techniques, and nothing was working, right? Okay. He found things that were used for humans in the United States that dealt with the blood, Coumadin, I think it was. So, if you want to thin your blood, right, because you got blocked arteries and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. So anyhow, apparently, he started putting this out, and after a day or two, the rats would start to die because their system would, basically explode from it.
Wow. Are you serious?
So
that is so cool.
I was going like, wow. And think about that, because these, brewers were having trouble they wanted to make pure ingredients.
Sure.
Right? And in your home, the same thing. We live in Florida. We deal with bugs all the time.
Right.
And we're just not comfortable having them run around our house and say hello. I mean, it's cute when they make them, in animated characters and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's different if my wife sees a roach in the house. It's
gosh.
It's like, where's the bug spray guy? Where's the bug spray guy? I said, well, he was here, 2 weeks ago. He said, well, let's call him back.
That's exactly right.
And so I think you're in a growing business that's needed.
Right.
And I want to tell you, it's fascinating to me how the industry has progressed.
Yes, sir.
You're fairly new in the industry, but have you been in Florida most of your life?
Yes, sir.
So
I was born and raised in Tampa, Florida.
Okay, so that's your experience in bug control. It's like, you've lived here and you understand how important it is. So what are some of the marketing strategies? You mentioned something that struck me earlier, which was, just being a better service to your clients. And one of the things that we learned at Meldon Law as far as growing our business was that if we give better service and we outwork all the competition, then our business is going to grow from referrals. It's going to grow from reputation.
That's very true.
And that's true across every business platform, So I think you're on the right track. And I also understand you partnered up with Marion County Chamber. We call it CEP.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about that.
Okay.
You got some special offer, right?
So with the CEP, first I have to say, I've been a part of Chamber of Commerce a couple of times in Tampa and stuff, and I'll tell you, this one's run pretty well. I'm pretty impressed by it. The Chamber and Economic Progress, if I remember correctly, is the name of it, and I really like this group. And so the special that I give to customers who are a part of the CEP typically is about half off. Right?
To get started.
To get started. And so instead of it being $199 down to start, we usually start at $99 down. And instead of it being $59 a month, we typically do $49 to $45. and that has been something that has helped us a lot. So when people see the value that they get for the price that they're paying, which is kind of middle of the road, right? You have your lesser expensive options, but then you definitely have your more expensive options out there. But when they see the value that they get for that, that has been a big hit with us.
Well, I think the most important thing, Parker, is that you definitely want to be known as the pest control company that doesn't stop until you find a solution.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I always tell people that. I said, we're going to spray for these fleas, or we're going to spray for these bed bugs, or whatever the case may be. And even though it's not in the contract, call me. I will always come back to fix something that maybe we missed. I actually had one of those just recently. We started a bed bug project, and I will admit that we started this project. We thought we had the bed bugs. Everything was good, and then about a week later, I get a call. Now they're seeing them in a different room, and we're like, no. So I called her. I said, you know what? We're not doing it for anything. I got you. We're going to take care of you. So we come back. We do an entire treatment of the rooms, the front room, everything again, and she's much happier now. So,
well, good. So how do folks get a hold of you?
So if you want to get a hold of Truly Nolen of Ocala, call us at 352-77-TRULY. I tried to make it easy for everyone. Or you can just email me at jparker@trulynolen.net.
Okay, well, that's great information. The phone number one more time?
352-77-TRULY.
Truly. Or you can go on the Truly, just Google Truly Nolen, Marion County, and you'll probably find you, right?
I should be there.
You should be there. And look, we support the folks in our community that are doing exceptional work, and Parker is definitely one of those people. He's going to get there and figure out how to keep your home bug-free, and he ain't going to stop until he fixes the problem. So I want to thank you very much
You're quite
for
welcome.
being here and helping us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on Meldon Law and Friends.
Thank you, sir. It was good. It was a pleasure.
Okay, and that's a wrap for another edition on Meldon Law and Friends, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, sir.